Are you curious about the essence of femininity in today's world? If you are, then join me as we unravel the significance of femininity in the modern era and explore what it truly means in our lives. So today we're going to be diving deep into something that's been on my mind a lot lately, and it's about femininity in 2025 and what it really means to us modern queens. You know, the other day I had the most interesting conversation. Where was I? I was in Starbucks, and this girl walked in. She was absolutely stunning and she was totally commanding the room like a bad bee. Let me tell you, she was commanding that room. She had on a power suit and some fabulous heels, and she just looked amazing. But there was also something incredibly feminine about her energy, and it got me thinking about how we're really rewriting the rules of femininity right now. We are rewriting history, let me tell you. Before we dive in, let me just say, this isn't about me telling you how to be feminine. This is about exploring what femininity means to you in this wild modern world that we're living in. That's what it's about. It's not about me telling you, it's about what it means to you, because things have changed when it comes to femininity. So firstly, let's talk about redefining femininity. So let's start by addressing the elephant in the room. Those outdated definitions of femininity that we've all been force-fed. And you know the ones that I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about. Historically, femininity was this tiny little box that women were forced to fit into. And it was things like be seen and not heard, always agreeable and not having our own minds, putting everyone else first, never being too ambitious, and always being appropriate. And, you know, I'm so glad that we've kind of broke out of them moulds, because we're not to be dictated to, not at all. And I'm glad that we have changed, and I'm glad that in 2025 we are redefining femininity. About a year ago, I remember I was working at a job and I was in a board meeting, and I noticed something fascinating. And what it was the most influential person in the room wasn't the loudest or the most aggressive. It was a CEO who was a woman, and she moved with like incredible feminine grace, and she did this while absolutely dominating the strategy discussion that we were having. And that just showed me that it's not about being forceful or being the loudest. It's about quiet power, which is something that I teach in my Quiet Power Revolution program, which is due to come out this month. So here's what I noticed about modern femininity. It's not about fitting into a box. It's not about dimming your light. And it's definitely not about choosing between power and softness. It's become this beautiful spectrum, and it's about authenticity over rules. It's about personal power over compliance. It's about choice and freedom of expression. So now let's talk about empowerment through feminine energy. Okay, so let's talk about this feminine energy thing that everybody's talking about. It's almost become a buzzword, femininity, and people get it so wrong. You know, people just think femininity is about how you dress, and it's much more than that. It's not just about how you look. That's feminine. You know, dressing in a feminine way is a thing, but that's not the sole meaning of femininity. So let's talk about feminine energy. And feminine energy is like a feeling. And you know that feeling where you're totally just in flow? That's feminine energy. You're not forcing anything, but you are absolutely magnetic. That's your feminine energy doing its thing. And feminine energy isn't about being passive or weak. It's actually one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Believe it or not, it's powerful. That's why, if you notice, men need women a lot more, because they need that feminine energy. Like, feminine energy is what makes the world go round, but they've taught us differently, but it's all down to feminine energy. It's a powerful thing. Very powerful. So let's break this down. So what we're going to do is talk about the feminine energy characteristics, which are intuition or intuitive wisdom, emotional intelligence, creative power, magnetic presence, nurturing strength, cyclical nature, and receptive power. I remember when I first started to embrace feminine energy in my business. It was terrifying, I swear it was. I thought I had to be hardcore and in this masculine energy all the time in order to be successful. But then something interesting happened. Let me break down what changed. I started trusting my intuition more. I led with connection instead of force. was. And I allowed myself to be both soft and strong. And here's what's wild, my influence actually increased, and my relationships also got deeper, and my business started to grow faster than it was previously. So now let's talk about balancing femininity and strength. So firstly, let's address the myth that's been floating around forever. This idea that being feminine means being weak. This is one of the biggest misconceptions about femininity. Femininity isn't the opposite to strength. It's not. So let me tell you why this is absolutely false. Modern feminine strength looks like this. Emotional intelligence, which is knowing how to read a room, understanding unspoken dynamics, making strategic decisions based on intuition. And the next thing is graceful boundaries, which is setting limits without aggression, maintaining standards elegantly, and commanding respect naturally. So now let's talk about authentic leadership, which is about leading with inspiration, creating collaborative environments, and building genuine connections. So one of my friends came to me recently, and she thought that she had to choose between being taken seriously and being feminine. And fast forward 6 months, she took what I taught her into her job, and now she's leading her department with a blend of nurturing leadership and absolutely boss energy. It changed so much because she thought that she didn't think that you could be soft and firm. She thought that you had to lead in a masculine way, and that's a way that I've never ever managed myself. I've been a manager in many different organisations, and I never ever led through masculine energy, never, and I always got the results with my team. So now she's thriving in her job. When you lead with masculine energy, it's like it takes away your actual physical energy because you're leading in a way that's not meant for you. So physically it drains you. So now she even said that she's more energized through leading this way. So here's what modern feminine strength looks like. It's about flowing, not forcing. It's about influencing, not controlling. And it's about leading with both heart and head. Not all heart and not all head. A good combination of both. So now let's talk about embracing femininity authentically. This is where it gets really personal, because authentic femininity looks different on everybody. It's not like one size fits all. It fits everybody differently, and that's the beauty of it, to be honest. Thing is, I'm an Aries, a fire sign, so we're ruled by Mars, which is quite a masculine energy. So I've kind of struggled with this for years. For a long time I've struggled with it. I'm quite masculine naturally, not in my appearance but in how I go about things. So I struggled, let me tell you. I actually thought I wasn't feminine enough because I didn't fit into the traditional mould. But then I realised something huge. What we need to remember is our femininity is like our fingerprint. It's unique to you, and it might show up as the way you solve problems creatively, how you connect deeply with others, your ability to read a room, or the way you express yourself authentically. So now here's where it gets really interesting, as if it hasn't got interesting enough, but it's going to get more interesting, because authentic femininity is as unique as your fingerprint, as I mentioned before. So here are some modern expressions of femininity in business: intuitive decision making, relationship-based networking, collaborative leadership, and creative problem solving. A lot of the times we won't see these as feminine, but when you actually look into it, all these are feminine. These are feminine ways of doing things. So in relationships, clear communication. That's why women like to communicate more than men, because it's a feminine attribute. Emotional availability, maintaining independence, and nurturing connections. So in self-expression, personal style choices, communication methods, energy management, and boundary setting. So when you look at it, all these different ways that I mentioned, those are feminine. Even though if a man's in a relationship with a woman, he will have to pick up some of these feminine attributes or feminine ways of doing things. If we notice, they find it harder because it's not masculine. Communication isn't masculine, it's feminine. So yeah, you've learned something new today. Okay. So here's what I want you to take away from this conversation. Your femininity is not about you fitting into somebody else's definition. It's about embracing your unique expression of it. Think about it. What makes you feel most alive? When do you feel most in your power? How do you naturally express your feminine energy? The modern era isn't about choosing between being feminine and being powerful. It's about recognizing that your femininity is your power. I want to hear from you, so drop a comment in the comment box below and let me know what femininity means to you in 2025 and how do you express your unique feminine energy. Remember, there is no one way to be feminine. Your way is the right way. So until next time, don't forget that your presence is your power. And before you go, don't forget to share this video, like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Bye for now. Mwah.